Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, the doors of the chamber have opened and proceedings are about to start. The judge is in his chamber, and who have we got on the stand? Phil Spencer. We've lost the console wars.
Oh, the shame!
How could this ever have happened?
The PlayStation guy, Jim Ryan. It was never our intention that Call of Duty should leave PlayStation, but if it was, it wouldn't faze us, even though that's contrary to whatever we've said in the past.
That's true.
And a big bombshell from the judge. If Xbox were to gain control of COD, Phil Spencer, would you make it a console exclusive? On oath. I swear allegiance to the flag. I will never make Call of Duty a console exclusive. Gasps from the audience. Well, anyway, we were not talking about that council chamber. We're talking about our council chamber. I am Judge Junky, introducing our fairy friend, Judge Ewok.
How you doing, folks?
And is that I see light from a summer window break? No, it is the moon. It is Judge Ben Volio.
Good day, chappers.
If you didn't get it, that was a Romeo and Juliet reference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's educated, this one. He's well read.
He's well read. Hey, Denmark, smart, idiot.
How's everyone doing?
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah,
Good.
not too bad. But
What a week.
Yeah, so it has been a crazy week. As you may have summarized from the start of the show, the FTC case is underway, and there's been a few zingers. I know we spoke about it last week, so we won't dwell on it too much, but what are your thoughts so far? What you've seen, lads?
To be honest, I think it's going to be difficult not to dwell on it too much with everything that's happened, but we will try not to kind of make this the Xbox Activision podcast. So I've been following it on Twitter because they're not live streaming it. And so I've been following a couple of...
because the FTC wouldn't let Xbox, that's why.
Yeah. Because I've been following a couple of legal experts. So there's a guy called Florian Mueller on Twitter, who's basically a patent lawyer and stuff like that, and or patent expert. And then there's Home Law as well. And like Florian Mueller's live tweeting it from the actual courtroom. So you're kind of getting updates every 10 minutes, and it just sounds like a farce. It sounds like the FTC are just squandering US taxpayers' money by chasing this, because every question they're asking simply strengthens Xbox's position from the set of it. One of the questions directed to Xbox execs was regarding exclusivity. Wouldn't it be... I was along the lines of, wouldn't it... If you could buy a pack or get an exclusive skin or other exclusive benefits for the likes of Call of Duty, wouldn't that encourage people to buy the console that you get them on? So if you're Sony for the last decade, wouldn't this encourage people to buy the PlayStation?
Oh, no!
And
hi, we're Epic. This is Fortnite, and you can only get this skin on Sony.
Yeah, but it's basically this is part of their console theory of harm argument, and they're asking all the questions that just show everything that Sony's been doing, and it's like they haven't got a clue. It's like they have no idea what's going on.
They haven't got a clue, have they? And that's part of the problem when the FTC and regulatory bodies such as CMA or the courts get involved in stuff like this. I'm not ageist, but most of the people aren't very tech savvy, or they aren't in the know when it comes to this, and you'd think they'd have special advisors, but they just don't seem to. So it's the same thing when Mark Zuckerberg went up in front of Congress and had to talk about Meta, and like half the people there didn't grasp the idea of a smartphone. So how can you get... I mean, consoles and the gaming industry is complex enough for people that know it. So people outside it, your average player, doesn't grasp the technical side of this, and then someone that doesn't play whatsoever doesn't understand any of it. So it is a bit of a farce.
One of the questions they asked on the first day was to Sarah Bond as well, and it was don't you need a Windows key to stream? And she was like, no, you don't even need an active version of Windows to stream.
You don't even need Windows to stream.
Yeah. But what was interesting was yesterday it seemed like the judge had had enough. So at one point, she literally cut off the FTC lawyer because his line of questioning was just getting ridiculous. I think Phil Spencer spent a majority of the day in the dock yesterday, and it got to the point where the judge just said, he asked something about adding Call of Duty or Activision games to the cloud or whatever, like cloud gaming, at which point the judge just stepped in and said, I don't need to know about that. I'm ending your questioning there. Mr. Spencer, can you step down? She ended the FTC's line of questioning with Phil Spencer because she just had enough of it. Because she could see the stupidity in the questions, really.
The big highlights, that came out of it, though, were, again, Microsoft with the leading statements of, we've lost the console war for 3 years. We've always been third place. Take that what you will. Okay. It was argued in court, obviously, do you really class Nintendo as a competitor? And Microsoft like, well, yes, because we want to branch into the mobile market as well, and that's very much what they do. So we are third best. Then it was also revealed in all these unsealed documents, which we're now getting to read for the first time, that Microsoft had actually looked into a solo stream support system, so like Nvidia, which was and Stadia, and then realized after watching those flop and realizing the amount of work that would go into maintaining that, it'd just make more sense to support it on the consoles you've already got running anyway. So that was a big thing. Then it leaked out that Bobby Kotick from Activision was like, well, I need more of my share, more of the pie for me to sort of nod and say yes to these things. And Microsoft were like, well, we really can't do without Activision here. We want their content. So, okay, you can have a bigger slice of the pie. You get a 70-30 rather than a 60-40, which is how we normally do it.
Yeah.
So
well, I think it's closer to like 80-20 from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, Activision also get a bigger slice of the pie over on PlayStation. I'm not quite sure how close it is to the Xbox size, but they do demand a slightly bigger piece of the pie on both platforms.
We've seen that go both ways, and this comes back to the argument that PlayStation is like the main competitor. It does sort of have it doesn't have an overall majority or monopoly, but it is so big, so influential that they have turned around to other developers and said, much in the same way Steam have, we're taking a bigger slice. If you want to come to PlayStation, you need to do such things as give us full exclusivity to this game, give us so much time exclusivity, give us advertising rights, otherwise you won't get put on the marketplace. You need to decrease your revenue split. And like, if Activision can go to Xbox and say the complete opposite, well, we can do without you, you can't do without us. We can pretty much like sell exclusively to PlayStation and still make enough money. Yeah. Either decrease your revenue or don't get it. It shows how big they actually are.
Yeah.
So it just, the whole time that they've been crying foul, we can't do this, we can't do that. Big revelation for me was that the whole reason Microsoft bought the shop was because PlayStation was caught in Bethesda to get Starfield as an exclusive. And that shows how big shows how big Starfield actually is. That Microsoft took it there and then to say this is the IP of this generation. That if we lose this as a console exclusive, we may as well just pack up and go home now.
Yeah,
to the point where they literally bought Bethesda.
But I think the fact that they had to buy Bethesda just shows the power of PlayStation as well. They couldn't just come in and try and negotiate for Starfield.
No.
They literally had to say, right, okay, we don't want the slice, we want the whole damn pie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way we're going to secure the future of Xbox.
Just one of the other little things that sort of revealed as well was Bethesda's working on an Indiana Jones game that has gone from cross-platform to now exclusive to Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
Well, that got linked, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just on that, I mean, there's a little bit of like outcry that I did see on Twitter, people complaining about the fact that indie's now going to be sole platform. And it's like kind of part of the console wars thing that kind of annoys me. But if something's exclusive on PlayStation, it's just exclusive on PlayStation.
Until it comes to Steam.
If something's exclusive on Xbox, it's an outrage.
Yeah,
that seems to be kind of the feeling you get when you look at it. So when that was mentioned, like within minutes, I'm looking at my Twitter feed and people going, "Oh well, you know what? I'm not buying an Xbox to play, and this is ridiculous." And I'm like, "Well, I have to buy a PlayStation if I want to play Spider-Man."
Yeah, I have to buy a PlayStation.
But it does show
those titles sold consoles.
Yeah, it does show though that Disney don't really care about the game exclusivity. You know, they don't care where the games are coming out as long as they're coming out and they're making some money on it. Because obviously they had to go back and renegotiate that part with Disney. But
the one thing that got me as well, lad, I think this is like outside the court case. Someone, Jim Ryan said, he said, obviously we will not give if the deal goes through. So he feels like he's sort of like getting to the point now where he knows the deal's going to go through, or he expects the deal to go through. If the deal goes through, we will not give Microsoft access to PS6 to optimize COD games for PS6 because that'll give them an edge on the competition. Yeah. And it's like, well, on one hand, I can sort of understand it. On one hand, you turn around and said Xbox will make inferior copies, unoptimized copies of Call of Duty if they gain access. Well, if you're not giving them the ability to playtest on your console, even if it is, console has not been released, obviously it's not going to be optimized. How can you optimize something you can't play on? You have no hands on.
Wasn't that one of the arguments to do with Minecraft as well?
It was.
Kicking off?
But I'll come back to Minecraft in a second. But the other thing as well is like, and where it comes to me as a non-argument is, whenever you release a console, you'll send out like your prototype, your base version, your developers did your dev kit. We're not stupid enough to think that like the competitors aren't going to be able to get hands on the dev kit. If a dev kit goes out. Like everyone knows what's in these consoles. Doesn't matter what's in the patent. Everyone knows what's in these consoles. They're so closely aligned anyway. There's only minute differences. The fact that PlayStation called theirs the secret bloody source when they brought out PS5, I'm guaranteed they know what the secret source is. Yeah. There's developer choices.
Yeah.
And for Minecraft being a lesser version, unoptimized, well, it's not exactly the fucking most robust game, is it?
Well, the thing is, that comes back to exactly what you just were talking about, though. So Phil Spencer was asked about that in the doc, and they were trying to make the case, obviously, that Xbox would make a game inferior on the PS5 compared to the Series X. And they were like, well, what about Minecraft? And Phil Spencer's response was, well, we were able to optimize it on the Series because we had access to the Series and the dev kit. We couldn't optimize it for the PS5 because Sony refused to send us dev kits for it. So that's not on us. So it's basically they've got a PS4 version that runs up PS5. If they wanted it optimized, they should have sent us dev kits. And you can't, as you say, you can't make the argument that you're going to make an inferior product for us if you're not willing to go, but here's our dev kit. If you can say, here's our dev kit, and you still get an inferior copy, by all means, shout it out, declare it, call them for it. But you can't not supply the dev kit and then complain that you haven't got an optimized version of any game. Mm-hmm. And it's the whole thing with the console theory of harm. It all stems from Jim Ryan just flying around from one country to another, kicking off, going, "Oh no, if we lose COD, we're doomed." And the COD is so important to PlayStation. It's so important to their survival that Jim Ryan will not be showing up at the FTC preliminary hearing in person, but is sending a recorded video deposition.
I've said it before and I'll say it again, Jim Ryan is the PlayStation equivalent of Don Matrick.
Yeah.
He looks like Jim Davidson. I can't take him seriously.
Yeah.
I just think, don't get wrong, it's going to come off to people listening or watching, Pro Xbox. I like my Xbox. My argument is I prefer all games to be on all platforms for anyone to enjoy how they want to play it. It doesn't matter to me. The unfortunate thing is we have exclusivities because they sell consoles. We have these backroom deals for third-party exclusivities or exclusive packs and skins and stuff like that because they push the sales of consoles. It's something we just have to deal with. But having the market leader, I said it last time, having the market leader kind of play it the way they played it for the last year and a half, for only now in the actual crux of it when it's all going to be decided. Because I think if the FTC don't get the preliminary injunction, we're going to see Xbox close the deal over the CMA and then just sort out whatever happens with the CAT tribunal. I think we're going to see that. And if the FTC lose, I could see the CMA buckling. But when it's that important that you aren't going to show up.
Yeah, that underlines it really, doesn't it?
It damages the FCC's console theory of harm, which is what they're basing most of this preliminary injunction hearing on. It should just be thrown out.
It's weird. It's weird as well because you got Jim Ryan on one hand, and he's flying around the world and he's saying, just basically chatting shit to try and make this deal fall through. And I think he's doing more harm to the consumer. To the image of the company. And on the other hand, you got, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Shuei Yoshida popping up in interviews going, well, cloud gaming's in its infancy and it's not that much of a threat.
Cloud,
And he seems to be more like pro-consumer, pro-games, pro-release, bring down the barriers to entry for between the lines. And it's like, you got this corporate image and this gamer image, and like they need to reassess, realign, and just be better.
The FTC did bring in a representative of Stadia. And I think they were trying to prove that cloud gaming was a separate kind of market. And the Stadia rep basically said that they were competing with PlayStation and Xbox. So, again, basically changes the argument from, well, cloud gaming is completely separate to, well, if you're competing against Xbox and Sony, how can it be a separate market?
Yeah. Was it Sony, when Microsoft came out with the statement as well, is they've seen an increase with cloud gaming, but used the way that Sony first pioneered it, where you're able to stream the game while you're still downloading it in the background, and that's what their majority of use is for. It's very rare that you're actually getting people that are streaming full games through the Game Pass at the moment. They'd rather start streaming it. If they like it, they'll install it and carry on streaming it while it's installing in the background.
And I think that's a big thing. And I think that's a big thing to mention. And that's something that they've been trying to push really is like cloud gaming is still very much in its infancy.
Yeah.
Like the limitations are massive. And there's not many people in the market trying to push it. And the ones that have been given free rights to Call of Duty as part of the Europe deal. Yeah. So if Microsoft are willing to invest in it and it bolsters other smaller companies to invest in it and sort of grow big alongside them, then, hopefully it's something that stays, because obviously Stadia was a big dent to cloud gaming and could have capsized it really.
Yeah.
But Sony should know all this because they're doing the same thing with proprietary tech. Obviously, their big push is for VR, PS2 VR, which again is another technology that's very, very niche, very, very in its infancy, and I think has potential, but like it needs that investment. And if it doesn't do well, it could easily flop and just get forgotten about.
Yeah,
totally.
I think on the xCloud side of it as well, it was mentioned in court. Yes, on day one, I think it was that actually xCloud costs Microsoft money at the moment.
Yeah,
they don't make any money on the cloud side of it because it is an emerging technology, an emerging market. Yeah. And when you think, I was thinking about this last night. So over here in the UK, we enjoy generally uncapped internet usage for the most part. So we can stream as much as we want. We can upload whatever we want. We can download whatever we want. If we want to play on xCloud, we can. We can do it permanently if we wanted to. We're not going to cut off. But a lot of people in America still have capped internet services. They still very much pay for capped internet services, and their speeds are all over the place. In some places you can get a gig, in other places you're lucky to get a couple of meg. So the likes of Xbox, Sony, Google, if they wanted to give it a go, they could absolutely make cloud gaming the pinnacle of gaming if they invested enough into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still going to be held back by the end user's internet connection. And in a lot of cases, it's just not going to be good enough. So you can have the tech, it just might not be able to be utilised properly. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing when it comes to talking about the cloud side of it as well. Is, yeah, the tech can advance, but if the people can't use it, it's there's no point.
Very true, very true.
Agreed.
I think my closing thought on this at the moment, until the next episode of this saga, is that day one put a big spotlight on how frail the FTC's case actually is.
Yeah.
And Microsoft, I think Phil Spencer was able to sit back and just go, hang on, they've not got as much ammo and firepower as we potentially thought. And stuff like Jim Ryan not going to attend him physically is an underlining statement. There's a lot of unsaid stuff there. Actions speak louder than words. And I think this potentially could be wrapped up within 2-3 days. The way it's going, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So they're meant to reconvene on Tuesday. There'll be a couple of days, I think, of Microsoft doing their thing in the FTC cross-examining. And then we're expecting a lot of the people that have been watching it, a lot of the experts that have been watching it are expecting the judge to make a decision within 3 days of the end of the trial. Which would bode very well for Xbox. And if my thought on this, my closing thought on this is, as just as I said before, if they don't get the preliminary injunction, which will kill the deal essentially, because it will mean they have to hold off till at least August or beyond. If the FTC don't get the preliminary injunction, we will see Xbox close over the CMA before we record our next podcast. And they will just basically figure out the fallout of the CAT tribunal after the case, in which case we might not see Activision stuff hit Game Pass in the UK for a while. But if the FTC do lose the preliminary injunction, I can also see the CMA folding, because they'll have lost their biggest ally.
Yep. Closing thoughts. I think it'll go through. I think you're right. What you said, the CMA will probably follow shortly after, or if not, we'll just see the deal close as is, and then let them catch up with it as and when. More important, bigger, I guess. More spicy. When this deal goes through, I expect to see 2 or 3 deals from Sony's side go through. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony try and buy Capcom or Square Enix.
Yeah, to be fair,
before the year's out.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll have any of this hoo-ha. I don't think Microsoft will even push it.
I think they might.
I think they'll say they'll be
Square Enix, yeah. I'd see them pushing Square Enix, to be fair, because they get good content from them. What have they really got from Capcom? Capcom have had a really bad relationship with Xbox for the last couple of years, and they heavily focus now on the Western market, on the Eastern market. I mean, yeah, we've had Monster Hunter come over. You've got your Street Fighters. What else have we got? Possibly Dragon's Dogma. That's their only flagship saving grace at the moment.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think if it's any of the Japanese companies, Xbox will move to block. On the basis that they are trying to break into that market where Sony are already the far dominant party, and just by pure principle for what Sony have made them do over the last 18 months. I think one, they'll do it out of spite, and 2, they'll do it to try and protect their entry into that market.
Oh, my camera's froze.
Just like,
I'm very deep in thought, Junky.
It's like even he's really thinking this through, or his camera froze.
He's pouting, isn't he?
There we go. Look at that handsome chap. But yeah, I think they'll move to block if it's anything in that market, because Sony already have like 90% of the pie there.
Out of the two of them, I think it would be Square Enix.
They're probably Square Enix. I can see it happen. Yeah. They're already. What would be the word? Eno, exclusive in name only. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So
on to games, lads.
Yeah, there we go. So as we were about to say there, you've obviously got the situation where with Xbox and Sony, the console wars has been in spotlight. But the other thing that's been in the spotlight this month has also been the Summer of Games, where we saw essentially the non-official E3. So we saw the Sony showcase, we saw the Microsoft showcase, Ubisoft came out and did it. We finally got a full look at Starfield, OMG. And obviously the Nintendo Direct, which literally last night from the day of recording. Ewok, you made sure you came out and had your say on the Xbox showcase. You did other little things. So guys, if you haven't had a chance to watch that, go over to, I believe it was on Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube as well.
Social media platforms.
One follower.
And go and check that out. Oh, what a lineup of games we saw from the Xbox showcase. So obviously Starfield was the title and the big exclusive thing there that we got to see the extended showcase of at the end. Unsurprisingly, Forza Motorsport, we knew it was coming. Then there was Hellblade 2, Fable, Avowed, Necrom for Elder Scrolls, Towerborn, loads and loads, Cyberpunk, Fallout 76 DLC, the Persona games. They really went heavy with the Persona games, which I'm surprised at. Like a Dragon, Overwatch 2, the story mode, Star Wars Outlaws. We obviously got to see that again in the Ubisoft conference. I'm going to start with you, Ewok. What was the standout for you?
We know what the one big standout was for me, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I think we can go through some of the others. Hellblade is looking very, very nice. The only issue I had with that is they didn't show any more gameplay. They showed like a cutscene, an in-game cutscene, which looked beautiful. I wasn't expecting anything else. But
have you ever played Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice before, or the first one?
Yes.
Yeah, it cinematically is one of the.
It plays like a cutscene.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
It's so beautiful, man.
Yeah. Fable. And I said this in my reaction video.
I can't smile wide enough.
I missed it at first. It was only on my second playthrough of watching the showcase. The Fable segment was in-game footage.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's beautiful.
It's dangerously very, very pretty.
Yeah, the small segments of combat we saw, I was like, if that is in game, Playground Games have no right making a game that beautiful when all they've done is make racing games before.
I mean, Playground Games, like they have the chops, so I fully believe it could look that good. The proof's in the pudding. Like when it comes out, is the gameplay going to match the graphics?
It needs to.
Yeah,
because obviously, like you said, the tenure, they come from racing games, and I know like the reason it's been we haven't seen much footage is because they have had struggles trying to get the game off the ground. They've had a few different directors come in, a few different devs take over, and a few different studios have to come in and help them out. And it's been from by their own admission, a giant learning curve branching into this type of game. So I'm quietly hopeful that it'll play out quite well. I mean, I'm just glad they kept the British humour, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Richard Adewale and there is the giant. I think that was a nice touch as well. Somebody I wasn't expecting to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a big gamer and he's into this sort of thing, but I wasn't expecting him to really throw himself in like with a studio. So that's going to be great to see. One of the standouts, I must admit, for me though, Sea of Thieves, and then suddenly Monkey Island, and I was like, "Oh my god, why didn't I think of this before? What a crossover!"
Yeah, I was made, and it's out next month.
I feel a Council play is coming on.
It definitely looks like it definitely looks like one of the best crossovers of this year after Barbie Forza Horizon crossover.
Oh yeah,
yeah, obviously.
That was obvious. Well, I mean, come on, she drives a car.
Don't be knocking me camper van.
No, yeah.
Can't wait to get her arse and that Corvette. Hot pink.
Brings out the eyes.
But yeah, when I saw the Lucasfilm, Lucas Games, I was like, it's Monkey Island, and then it pans to Monkey Island. I was like, yes. But what I'm hoping is it's full of like the think out of the box puzzles that Monkey Island is known for.
I think it is. I'm sure someone said it is. It is going to be very true to the actual Monkey Island game. Obviously, big difference with it being first person. Obviously, there'll be combat involved as well, like not like text-based combat.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really good. Like obviously, we've all played Monkey Island.
Well, I'd say this is awesome because it's the doorway to a whole new generation that never experienced those Monkey Island games.
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing Monkey Island when I was like a wee nipper on the Amiga. That's how old we are, guys.
Yeah, and if you've not played the Monkey Island game and you want to try one before it comes out, it's on Game Pass. The latest one is on Game Pass. And that does stay true to the humour and the thinking outside the box stuff. So it's very much Escape from Monkey Island. It's not like a rethink of it. So yeah, have a little go, and you'll see what we're talking about. The Lucasfilms games were known for the out of the box thinking games like Grim Fandango, Escape from Monkey Island, all of that. So
Discworld.
Yeah, Discworld.
Oh, Pratchett, man, love it.
So. I was excited for that, and I will be reinstalling Sea of Thieves for that. And if we want to do a council plays, then why not? Get on a break and give it a good look.
Sticking with the Game Pass games that are getting extra content, Fallout 76, we're getting to go to Atlantic City. The cheap Vegas, not the new Vegas everyone thought we were getting, but still. Now, I'll be honest, boys, with this one, I've got mixed opinion. I pretty much feel that Fallout 76 has run its course, and that might make it shut down for this, and I appreciate everyone's got their own opinion and views, but for me, we now need a new Fallout standalone game. I think it's that time. The whole online thing worked for a little bit, and then as with most things online, it got bugged, it got hacked, it got broken, and they've gone back and repaired it and fixed it, and they've brought out events and so on and so forth, but it fell off. And there was nothing to really make you carry on. The pit was the last big thing, and even the content for that wasn't massively long.
I don't know. I'll disagree. I mean, I'm not a Fallout 76 player, but I'll disagree. I think it's got its own place. I think it's trying to establish itself in that EOS online sort of place, but for the Fallout world, it still has a way to go. It's come on a lot from what it was. I mean, astronomically from what it was. It was a failure at launch. It was terrible at launch, and I've jumped back in, and like it's all right. But like I know you play online games like MMOs, that type of thing. It's never really been my itch, but I can appreciate it for what it is. I think it'll do all right. But you're right. I want to see a proper Fallout game, and I think we will see a proper Fallout game in the next few years once Starfield stopped being worked on.
Yeah.
Or the team's moved on. I mean, now that Microsoft own Obsidian, I think we will see a Fallout New Vegas remake at least.
There was meant to be New Vegas 2, wasn't there?
Or New Vegas. We'll see something in that.
So yeah, Todd Howard did say that the next game that they're going to be working on is Fallout. But if you look at the cycle of stuff, because I respect what Bethesda do, in that they keep their team together so that everyone can be focused on the one goal. I get that. But as gamers, we suffer for that a little bit. So we get these really big, ambitious worlds that they make, like Skyrim, now Starfield. Fallout 4 was quite big. It wasn't as good as Fallout 3, but, you know, it was a big, ambitious game. They always shoot for the stars, right? But the problem with that is they'll finish Starfield. They'll leave a small team on that, just kind of, you know, hot fixes, quality of life stuff, all of that. But the majority of the team will move over, and that's when the work will really start on Fallout 5. And that means Fallout 5 is about 4 or 5 years away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean that's something that came up as well recently on Twitter. I think it was Matt Booty was saying we all need to like lower our expectations and lengthen the amount of time we expect the game to come out, because the way, and we've spoken about before about crunch, the way technology is rapidly advancing, 4 to 5 years is going to be industry standard for a game now. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Especially as I know it feels like we're just in the start, and some people have still got like last generation, but I think games now coming forward are going to start looking at next gen consoles. So I wouldn't be surprised if when they do start on Fallout 5, it is with the Xbox, whatever it's called, the PS6 in mind.
Well, just on that, just one little snippet we did get from the whole Xbox v FTC thing was that they came out in a statement alongside Sony and said, you know, in hindsight and timescale, we're looking 4 or 5 years until we even start thinking about this other next-gen console. So, like, 2028 and onwards. So we've still got a few years.
Yeah, 2028 is when they expect the next-gen to launch. So they'll be working on it now. But I think Ryan McCaffrey at IGN? Ryan Capper, I can't remember his name exactly, apologies. He interviewed Todd Howard, and he was asking about Fallout and Elder Scrolls, you know, when we're seeing the next kind of thing. It's quite sad in a way, because Todd Howard was like, well, yeah, because of the way we make things, the next Elder Scrolls might be the last ever Elder Scrolls that I direct. Because of the cycle. So, next one's Fallout, then after that's probably going to be Elder Scrolls, so you're looking at 10 years there. Then after that, is it Starfield 2? Who knows? You know, if Starfield is the big kind of breakout game everyone's expecting and hoping it to be. So then you've got basically then looking at a 15 to 20 year cycle between seeing follow-ups.
Yeah.
Because Starfield has taken 8 years. 8 years.
It's unreal when you think about it like that, isn't it? I mean, my little lad wasn't even born. when Starfield was just a name on a notepad. Yeah.
But if you say 6 years average to create the games, Fallout 6 years, Elder Scrolls takes it to 12 years, another Starfield possibly takes it to 18 years.
I wonder if we'll see a Outer Worlds Starfield crossover.
Well, funny, yeah, that was really Bethesda dipping their toe in, wasn't it, and testing the market.
Yeah. If you do, is it Pan Am?
Potentially, I think so.
Obsidian.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
No,
Obsidian,
no, it's Pavati. Sorry, not Pan Am. But the character, if we get a crossover, I want Pavati. I will protect her with my life.
But obviously, with them both being owned by Microsoft now and having that relationship, you know, and obviously New Vegas, bloody Bethesda, Outer Worlds being space, Starfields being space, Bethesda, Obsidian again, we could see that kind of crossover.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah. And it's nice to see that Xbox are including other studios and getting them to work together. And that's what they need to be doing. Obviously, with the failure of Redfall, they need to be more hands-on. I believe that's one of the big failures this generation is Xbox need to get these studios in line and like stop giving them complete free reign and being a bit more sort of like angry parents, like, you know, put your head down, get in the books, get our studios involved, use that talent resource. Yeah. So on Starfield, they've used ID Software, obviously make Doom, one of the best shooters in the market.
Interestingly enough, they didn't ask them to come in and help with combat.
Yeah, they didn't use them with the gunplay, but the gunplay has improved. So I'm surprised if maybe they haven't used them to do the gunplay, but they've given them advice on gunplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they came in to help with the graphics, didn't they? They came in to help with getting as much out of the graphics, which seems to have worked because it looked beautiful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Going to see, sticking with, obviously, we're down this Bethesda rabbit hole at the moment. Necron, ESO. I walked away from it so long ago. Ewok, you were the one that was championing it for a while on your streams. You ran right through all the current DLC. Necron, what are you looking for in this?
I've not been as keen because I still haven't played High Isle. It looks really. It's more ESO, so it just looks good. They make good content. They make good chapter content. It's not like here's a quick 10 mission story and you're done. They make big chapters, and
it's all the Division.
Yeah, and they are fun to play through. But I'm just not. I'm not on my ESO kind of vibe at the moment, so I've not touched it for a while. But it looks good. It looks pretty. As pretty as a game that old can look. Obviously, they've updated bits at a time. But speaking of ESO, Avowed. The changes they made to it made me think of ESO.
Oh yeah,
and I was thinking to myself, if I wanted to play a game like that, I'll just get Necron.
Exactly.
Because I know what I'm getting and I enjoy it.
We are starting to find a market again where originality is very rare, and there are a lot of cut and paste copies. I mean, not that I'm going to take shots at anyone, but I can't believe Sony are finally getting to play Forza Horizon. Oh shit, it's not, is it? That's right. It's the crew. I'll touch on that in a bit. But no, there was a couple, like, for me, sort of closing out on the showcase thing, there's a couple of things that stood out for me. South of Midnight looked amazing. Loved the concept and the idea of the artwork of that.
Yes.
Payday 3, love the Paydays. Love the fact it's coming to Game Pass day one. It's worth its weight in gold. Powerborn, everyone knows how much of a D&D nerd RPG, fancy role-playing I am. I love that, can't wait for that. Star Wars Outlaws looked good. I like Star Wars titles. Ubisoft, I don't think they're maybe the best studio to give it to, but, you know, it is what it is. And then finally, I think, obviously, for me, big racing fan, can't wait for me Forza. Going to be spending a lot of time on that.
Yeah. Overwatch can get fucked. I don't care. I think...
Well said, sir. Well said.
I think basically coming out a couple of months ago and saying, right, we're not going to do this hero mode. We're not going to do this, you know, that we promised. This, the reason that we built Overwatch 2, we're not going to give you it anymore because it's too much. It's too ambitious. But hey, we're releasing this paid PvE story, which isn't going to have your hero mode, isn't going to have progression. It's just going to be a bunch of PvE missions that you can run with your friends. But hey, it's paid. Nah, get fucked. Sorry, but no. It's disgusting. I'm not impressed with it at all. That angry, I'm swearing. But no, I just think it's basically a kick in the teeth. But one I do want to mention, or special mention on, because it really caught my eye. 33 Immortals.
Oh, that looked... 33 multiplayer? What the hell is that about?
Yeah. It looked like Tribes of Midgard, or like slightly more animated, cartoony graphics. But could you imagine? I mean, it's hard enough getting 4 of your mates online at the same time. Right. Imagine trying to get 33 people. I've said to my community, you know, we'll try and do that on stream. Anybody who wants to join? Anybody who wants to jump in? We'll try and do it and just see how many we can get in. And go.
I must have missed this one. I'll have to look into this one. Let's go 33 Immortals.
33 Immortals, yeah.
One of them little indie titles that may be the make or break of a studio.
Interesting.
But it was also very evident that they're making a push into the Japanese market as well, like say with the Persona games and the new Metaphor from the same studio, and Like a Dragon. They're making moves in that market, which is good to see because they need to. But they're not the kind of games that I'll play. But
well, Yakuza in it, Like a Dragon, basically Yakuza.
Yeah. And
not my sort of game.
Sorry, one last mention: Clockwork Revolution.
Yes. That reminded me very much of a Dishonored.
Yeah.
Got that vibe from it, liking the idea of that.
Yeah, combat looked really good as well. There was a lot of hype for that after the showcase, and yeah, it's good to see In Exile kind of coming back strong.
Yeah, well, that brings me on to my closing thoughts of the Xbox showcase. So, one of the big things for me was actually Clockwork Revolution because it looks so much like BioShock, which is brilliant. In Exile, it's a bit of a departure. Obviously, they're famous for Wasteland games, which are like turn-based or XCOM style. If you haven't played that, Wasteland 3, it's on Game Pass. It's bloody fantastic.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very reminiscent of older Fallout games, if you want to get that itch, scratch that itch. So yeah, I was looking forward to that. But conspicuous in its absence, I thought Perfect Dark. No mention of that.
No, yes. I did see that sneak out.
What else? Nothing from Outer Worlds 2.
No, sorry, Alone in the Dark. That's right. Alone in the Dark got announced, didn't it? Which is a remake of old classic horror, like cheap, nasty, resi copy.
I got to play the demo for Alone in the Dark. It's not worth playing. I mean, the game looks fantastic. It'll probably play well, but the demo was just pointless. It was just running around as a little girl, walking simulator type stuff. And
one we all forgot to mention, Alan Wake 2.
Ooh, Alan Wake 2 looks fantastic. Yeah, Alan Wake 2, I've seen lots of stuff about it. So basically, it looks like a game of two halves.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you know about it, but you play two characters. You play Alan Wake himself, how much you've played of the first game. I'm going to spoil it a little bit because it's about 10, 20 years old. Basically, he's still trapped in the writer's dimension, like a state of limbo. And then, I can't remember the girl's name. She's got a crazy name like Unity or Fate or something like that. It's very much like a True Detective style vibe. It's more like, slow down, point and click, sort of investigate, like Dark Knight, Arkham Asylum, where you're investigating the crime scenes.
Yeah.
It's that style of gameplay. So she's going to Bright Falls to investigate what actually happened to Alan Wake and what actually happened in Bright Falls. And then I believe it's a bit like GTA 5, where you can flip between the two almost simultaneously.
That's cool. I really like that.
You can do the game how you could either do fully as the female protagonist or fully as Alan Wake, and then
Saga Anderson is your protagonist.
Saga, that's the one. Yeah.
I did hear that it's meant to be roughly close to a 50-50 split in the time you're playing, and I did see a bit of like kind of flashback on the internet about that. Like, if I want to play Alan Wake, I want to play as Alan Wake, and I was kind of thinking to myself, play it first before you kick off. It could be very, very well done, and actually you could end up enjoying the other characters' sequences more than Alan Wake sequences. Like the kind of thing to kick off before you've even got the game in your hand. Just it's very modern day internet.
I'll say it's worth playing Control as well. If you've not played Control, the ending, I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending was crap. But the actual game in itself was fantastic. Like, some of the things they brought in, some of the mechanics were just like phenomenal. It's a brilliant game. And it also ties into Alan Wake. Like, the whole idea of Control is there's like an FBI sort of facility that's like hidden from the outside world, and they just basically, like the X-Files, it pretty much feels like the X-Files, just focus on otherworldly paranormal activity items that are like can be based in this dimension or other dimensions, and everything ties into it. And Alan Wake is one of the threads that ties into it. It's one of the cases that's mentioned.
I've not played Control, so
the second DLC is actually Alan Wake themed. It's based on the events of Alan Wake. So I like the idea that they're making that sort of multiverse. Everything's a multiverse now. Everything's a like shared universe, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it shows just how much Xbox had in their showcase that there were games that we didn't even pick up on them.
Yeah.
I thought it was
versus
a very,
the Ubisoft one.
yeah, I thought the Xbox showcase was a very strong showing this year.
It was a very strong showcase, and they needed it. They needed to have that strong showcase. Yeah. Did you see that E3's been cancelled next year on 2025? I've just want to throw that in there. E3 is pretty much finished now.
Yeah, we'll get the Summer Games Fest every year now, and plus all the showcases. I mean, we all know now that because the studios have got control of it finally, and rather than E3, they can go whenever they want and show whatever they want. So if they're holding on to their prize jewel and it's not polished and ready to show, they'll delay the showcase. So it is.
Yeah, and they're not competing with each other over a set couple of days. It's literally like Sony can do theirs in May, Xbox can do theirs in June, Ubisoft can.
Fuck off. I'm sorry. I keep hating on it, but I'm going to go straight into it
run
now.
another ad for Just Dance, and be done with it.
Yeah. So if we're jumping into Ubisoft,
you be forward.
If we're jumping into Ubisoft, and we're carrying on from the theme of conspicuous in its absence, especially when it comes to Ubisoft, we got all the regular CAC like Just Dance and all that.
Shovelware.
We still didn't see anything on Beyond Good and Evil. That game is never going out. That game is the Duke Nukem forever of this generation. If it ever does come out, it's never going to live up to any sort of like standard it sets. I'd just cancel it. Just cancel it. People stop keeping people hanging on.
They had the nerve to show more Skull and Bones.
Oh,
like you're not going to show Good and Evil.
They didn't even show Skull and Bones, did they? They got somebody to play a sea shanty, and that was it.
Yeah. Nobody.
Skull and Bones is now the Star Citizen of the deep seas.
That's so true.
Honestly, it's having been hands on with it. They need to can it. It's not what people are expecting it to be. It's not going to be a Sea of Thieves competitor.
It's not going to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag Simulator.
No, it's not. It's at this point they are. I think they're just kind of going. We need to recoup something from it.
Yeah. Fucking.
So it'll come out and they'll have abysmal sales, but they'll go, yeah, but it made a dent in the massive hole that we made. Trying to make it.
Right. Just take your Skull and Bones developer team. Take whatever you've got for Skull and Bones. Make a Black Flag remaster and then just add on an online mode that has Skull and Bones attached to it.
It's almost as if you need to walk in and save Ubisoft, Dan.
And then you've got money
to the rescue.
You've got money. There you go. Because people will play that. If it's attached to IP, people will play it. People will look Black Flag. People are stupid. People will buy, myself included, and I know Ewok will buy Assassin's Creed nearly every year. I'm probably now on a every 3 years basis. I'll probably skip 2 and buy one. No, I'm not playing that one. Yeah. I'm not playing Assassin's Creed China. Oh, Assassin's Creed Vikings, yeah, I'll play that.
I just think it highlights.
China.
it just highlights how much trouble Ubisoft are actually in. That they're flogging this horse. But they're canning other projects.
Well, there was no new IPs, was there? Really?
Let's can the what you call it? The Splinter Cell. Let's can that. Let's can a couple of other things. Let's get rid of all these like promised projects that we were working on, and let's focus on Assassin's Creed, of course, because that will bring money in every year. Like Dan says, I'll buy it. He'll buy it.
Well, that we did get to see a bit more on that, didn't we? We got to see, Assassin's Creed Jade, and then Mirage. And then obviously the mobile thing, going into the mobile market as well. We saw a little bit of Division online on the mobile, which...
come back to Division in a minute. It's just, the Ubisoft, the Ubi Forward, it was just embarrassing.
The only game I can feasibly see doing well this year for Ubisoft, apart from Star Wars, because the IP sells itself.
Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia got backlash. I don't know why. It actually looks alright.
It looks really good, yeah.
Would be Defiant if it can capture that COD market. It did well in
X-Defiant.
It did well in playtests. I think the beta's out this month.
It's out now.
I was playing it yesterday, and we can talk about it because it's NDA free.
Yeah, finally it's NDA free. I've been playing it for months.
Oh my god, right, okay, so now we're going down this rabbit hole. For those that don't know what X Defiant is, it is a first-person shooter that plays a hell of a lot like some other first-person shooters that we know, that feels as comfortable as other first-person shooters that we know. But because it's made by Ubisoft, they've taken their universe, so you play characters from factions, and those factions are the Cleaners from The Division, the DedSec from Watch Dogs. You've got who else? You got the yeah, you're there. There's all different factions from their sort of games. You know, the Freedom Fighters from Far Cry. The Splinter Cell lot. They're all there, and
Echelon.
Echelon. Yeah, so you'll have 3 characters that you can play as with special abilities. Kind of leans into the Rainbow Six style of play again. 1 ability plus a grenade plus your guns. The gunplay is very much like, and I'm going to have to say it, Call of Duty. It just feels naturally smooth and arcade styley. And then the game modes are literally escort a package. Well, gee, I wonder where I've seen that played before. And it works in a multiplayer setting. And then there's like domination, team deathmatch. All your basic game modes are there. But because it's new and fresh and it's got the abilities in it and it's not been hacked to death yet, it's a really nice shiny ball. Ooh, shiny.
I've been playing it for the last few months because I've been on the closed sessions, and each session
just rubbing my face with my fingers, don't I?
Each session you've seen the improvements they've made, and they've really listened to the feedback, and they've really tightened the experience. And what they announced Ubi Forward, the amount of content they announced as their roadmap for the first year as well. This is a free-to-play game as well. As you said, it's a very solid shooter. It's a very well-made shooter. It feels good to play. It's fun. They are dialing things in still. That's the whole idea of now this open section for people to play in. But I've got high hopes for when it drops later in the year. I can see it being for people who are tired of certain other FPSs that have certain problems, like people being able to see through walls or lock on and things like that. I can see it being a refreshing break from that. If it does cause a few people to kind of move over for a little bit, it might make Activision stand up and take notice when it comes to dealing with their multiplayer side of stuff. But it's not gonna take on the giant and slay the giant.
No.
But it will fill a gap and shake it up a little bit and be somewhere where a lot of people can kind of go and just enjoy an FPS experience for a little while that's slightly different to that.
Looks good. I'm willing to give it a go. I think it'll live or die on 2 things. How much they lean into the free-to-play model, like how stingy they are with content, how much there is pay to win. Obviously, with you saying there being certain abilities, hopefully it just stays cosmetic.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. That is the plan at the moment.
That being the plan and how that goes are 2 different things.
We've seen it with Ubisoft Rainbow Six before. Certain operations become meta. They have to kind of nerf and balance it all again. So let's hope they carry on that sort of trend.
And the other thing would be, if it is successful, it does do well, how long before people start hacking into it and it becomes like... Because it always happens. Like, at the moment, it's beta. You know, people aren't hacking betas because why would you? But like when it gets bigger and better, when it's like, if it does become that COD competitor, it's going to bring that black side of COD with it.
Yeah. What I will say is...
It's how they deal with that.
Yeah, what I will say is the cheat detection on Rainbow Six seems to be quite robust.
Yeah.
So if they apply the same thing, if it's possible, they've probably got a way of doing it and probably thought about it. But it is, I mean, you're going to get hackers and cheaters in every game, but in Rainbow Six, it's quite robust and does kind of generally catch them quicker than not. But yeah, I totally agree with you. It's as a free-to-play title, it's definitely going to hinge on those 2 things, definitely. Definitely.
I'm going to look as well around. I was going to say just the rest of the Ubisoft stuff was not even worth mentioning. We got Skateboards and Riders Republic, I don't think there was anything Rabbids. We got to see Prince of Persia. Talked about Assassin's Creed. And what was their big drop at the end? I can't even remember.
I didn't make it that far. I literally got bored.
Probably Star Wars Outlaws.
They showed some Star Wars Outlaws. That was like midway, I think, before I kind of said that.
It was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I didn't see Assassin, so I'm guessing it would have been the Assassin stuff.
Assassin's Creed Ghost, or whatever it's called. Yeah. I can't remember.
But,
the one that's about the guy that was in Vikings. And it's going back to...
That's Mirage, that one, I think, isn't it?
Mirage, that's one, yeah.
They've got by it. Yeah. Star Wars Outlaws, it's massive. Who are making it. And the combat bits they showed looked a lot like Division. Using the cover-based combat and stuff. So I like Division. I don't know if something felt a little bit off about it though when I was watching the combat. I don't know if it's because the player was crap because he wasn't really shooting at people and he was just like randomly shooting around the room. But it looked like a cover-based system for a huge part of it.
That was the other thing as well. We got to see Avatar
as well.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, that looked really good. I'll be honest, I've got hats off to them there.
I mean, the thing that gets me about, like, you know, what we got now, we've got Star Wars and we've got Avatar, and like we've seen in the past, companies like Telltale, when they start getting these big IPs, these big franchises, if they don't do well, the company doesn't do well at all.
Yeah,
like Ubisoft are already, you know, they've had bad earnings calls. They've been surviving year to year.
Yeah.
How much are these franchises costing? That's what concerns me.
Yeah.
And like, if you're just gonna copy and paste a Far Cry game into an Avatar game, how much is that gonna, like, you know, grab that audience?
Yeah.
Because most of them would probably just want to play Far Cry. From what I've been hearing, like, unless you're into Avatar, why would you not just play Far Cry?
Yeah, right, here we go. So the list was Avatar, Pandora, we saw that. XDefiant, we've spoken about that. Prince of Persia, we've spoken about that. Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. What the hell was that about?
It was the cheesiest presentation as well. This director guy who was making it, who's directing it, came on in this weird kind of oversized cyberpunk stuff, and he was trying to be funny, and nobody in the crowd was laughing. It looked so awkward.
I didn't actually see it, but Blood Dragon was the Far Cry 3 DLC. And it was one of the most successful DLCs, so obviously they're trying to capitalize on that.
Yeah, it's an anime, isn't it? It's an anime.
It's like a Netflix show or something that they're doing.
Yeah, it's an anime based on Blood Dragon. But yeah, it was the cheesiest thing. And like, honestly, considering the crowd was full of Ubisoft staff, you'd think they'd have been told to laugh. But
Division Resurgence we saw, Skull and Bones we heard, the Sea Shanty. One thing that kind of piqued my interest, but it's probably one of the only things, and it was a natural progression, to be fair. The characters from Jet Set Radio, Beat and Gum, are coming to Roller Champions. I haven't seen anything from JSR in years. They must have obviously collaborated with Sega to get the license for them characters. Can't wait to see that. It'd be nice. Riders Republic, we're getting skateboarding. Whoop-de-doo. Then, the biggest absolute joke of the entire show. The Crew Motorfest. You might as well have just fucking gone back 4 years and gone, here's what we call Forza Horizon. Watch this trailer, but just with a marker pen on your screen, just scribble out Forza and write Crew. What the hell is that all about?
Never been my cup of tea anyway. Looks like a bag of tripe.
I tried playing The Crew a while back and just, if you already play Forza Horizon or anything like that, then stick with it. It's not a good racing game, in my opinion. There are people who will enjoy it, of course, like each to their own, of course. But yeah, it did look like a direct rip off of maybe Forza Horizon, like.
Even the cutscenes, like, go through natural vistas, offland, across volcanoes. I'm sure that was Forza Horizon 4. Play online with multiple players and single player events. Yeah, you've been able to race with your mates for a while on that one as well. Drive all sorts of vehicles, from off-road buggies right the way through to Formula 1 cars. Again, yeah, you can do all that on Forza. It was unreal. And then literally they went, oh, look, here's like Assassin's Creed VR, here's Mirage, here's Jade, here's Outlaws, done. That was the show. And everyone just went, what the hell was that? And of course, Eve gets up and does his little, thank you all for coming. And like, Eve, just roll over, get your box and go. Because there you go, that's the best thing for Ubisoft.
Something that was missing for me as well, and it's interesting because they showed the Division Resurgence. No Heartland.
Heartland, that's it, yeah.
Considering that's meant to be close to release.
Yeah.
My worry there is it's been canned, but they haven't said anything.
I think it has, but judging by what little gameplay I tried a bit almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah. But was it Heartland you played, or was it the Ghost Recon one?
No, Heartland.
Okay.
And Heartland, at the time, the concept, which was very something familiar to us because we were playing other things like Scrappers and that, was it was a 3-man team, open area, and the virus would sweep through the area a bit like DMZ, and you had NPCs to kill, like AI, as well as other 3-man teams. But if you became infected and went down, you only had so many vaccines to get them up.
Yeah.
And then we kind of saw that model drift over from the Division to what then became Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Yeah, but it just makes me, because I was looking forward to that. A kind of extraction based in Division world. I was looking forward to trying it out because I like Division, I like extraction games. So the fact that we didn't see any of it after they showed us so much like 6 or 8 months ago just made me think something's not right there. But they haven't made an announcement. But all in all, the Ubisoft showcase was the weakest one out of
everything.
Out of all of them, in my opinion. Just it could have been a video. It could have been an email.
Could have been an email. Yeah. The Sony showcase. I can't remember whether we actually covered that last time or not.
I think we did cover it.
We covered bits of it, yeah.
Yeah, there was Spider-Man one. Then we saw the Miles Morales crossover there.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you haven't heard about that one, guys, go back to the last episode, listen to that. We do cover Sony's there. And obviously, Nintendo Direct only literally dropped last night, so most of us haven't had a chance to get our teeth into that. Junky, this is more your tree. Shake what coconuts you can out of this, mate.
Quickly go over it. From what I took out of it, there was quite a few games, but from what I took out of it, was literally Pikmin 4. Looks right. If you like Pikmin. Standard fare. Lots more Mario, so we're getting a Peach game. They didn't say much about that. We're getting a Luigi's Mansion 2 remake by the looks of it, or something to do with Luigi's Mansion. So that'd be right. The big hitters for me that came out of it were we're getting a full Mario game again, back to 2D, so more in the vein of Mario All Stars that we saw on the 3DS last. Side scroller called Mario Wonder. Trying to think what the gimmick in this was. The gimmick
Mario turns into an elephant, doesn't he?
Yeah, so the gimmick was there's a new item called Wonder Seeds, and this sort of turns everything into like a best way of describing it is like Casino Zone from Sonic. Everything just goes like twilight and bright, and there's lights and things popping about and things move around. Look quite fun, look quite interesting. Again, multiplayer, so you can get 4 players on the game, and they've let you play as more characters. So I believe on the last games you could just play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. Now I think you can play as Daisy, Yoshi, and probably someone else. And you can turn into an elephant. So there's a new suit. Obviously, in the last game we saw Mario be able to turn into a cat. Now you can turn into an elephant. It didn't really show what special moves he had, but it looks fun. Mario Wonder. And then the other big one was for the old and boulderers. You may remember back in the early 90s on the SNES, before Squaresoft became Square Enix, before Squaresoft moved over to PlayStation made Final Fantasy VII, we got Mario RPG, Legend of the of the 50 Stars.
Wow,
so,
that's old school.
Really, really left field. We're getting a full-blown remaster of Mario RPG for the Switch.
Okay.
And it looks pretty good. I think it looks like a complete faithful remaster. So it basically looks like the old Mario RPG, but with modern graphics. It looks all nice and Gucci and rounded and looks nice. So I'm looking forward to that. I believe they're both coming sometime later this year. I think the only other big thing to mention was Mario Kart 8 was getting another set of classic courses if you still play Mario Karts. Mario Kart 8 now, I don't I heard rumors that they might make a Mario Kart 9, but I don't think that'll come until Switch 2. There was nothing on Switch 2. Mario Kart 8 now is a definitive Mario Kart game. Literally every single course, every single Grand Prix is in that game in some form. Obviously, the big thing with Nintendo is you're just paying for the same stuff all over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But it is the definitive Mario Kart experience.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much it for the Nintendo conference. It was a good conference. Didn't hear much else apart from that. I think Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 remakes are coming to the Switch.
I did see something about a Metal Gear Classic Collection with all 7 games or something like that.
Yeah, so that I thought it was just free, but it was all 7. Might have been all 7 years. So that makes sense because Nintendo did have the rights to Twin Snakes, which is the 2D one, was it? Which is the original.
I admit I didn't have Mario getting his trunk out on my 2023 gaming video bingo card.
But yeah, it was a strong direct for Nintendo, and really out of the blue as well, because I don't think it was planned. Well, obviously we knew one was coming, but it just seemed to be like there's Mario Direct, there's a Nintendo Direct tomorrow. I was like, what?
And that's why I haven't had a chance to watch it, because it was just like announced a couple of days ago, and it just happened, and I was like, oh, well, okay.
And a big one, and I believe it was fully intended to jump on the success of the Mario movie, that we plugged so many Mario games.
Yeah.
Very, very smart marketing by Nintendo. Yeah. That's it. That's pretty much it from Nintendo Direct.
So that's FTC and Microsoft, all the showcases. We know what we're looking like going into the back end of this year. You put an interesting tweet or a post out, Ewok, the other day. Potentially, what's your game of the year at the moment? You were kind of leaning into Diablo at the moment, but potentially waiting for Starfield to take the crown. I'm going to have to back it up on that one. I really do think playing a load of Diablo at the moment. My rotation pretty much has been F1, NHL, Diablo, and then whatever else I fancy at the moment, just something different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just to clarify, I was talking about the games that I've personally played. So I've not played Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know what that's like. So my order so far, it was like Hogwarts Legacy at number 1. Diablo's just dropped.
Oh, no.
It's Hogwarts. It was a fun game. It was great to play. I really enjoyed every minute of the 70+ hours that I put into it. Diablo dropped, and Hogwarts is no longer a thought.
Magic Far Cry. Gone.
Diablo's incredible. I put nearly 3 days worth of hours into it already. I've got like a level 54 Necro, a level 44 Druid, 30 Rogue. I'm really enjoying it. There's so much content. There's so much story. There's so much after the story. I'm loving it, but I honestly think from September that's just going to get knocked off the top spot again.
Mm-hmm.
I think Starfield, from what they showed us, and obviously it's going to be curated and it is marketing, the whole showcase for Starfield, it was another piece of brilliant marketing, because that's what it needed to be. But if everything they showed is in it, plus the bits that they didn't show, I think that'll easily take my personal game of the year. It might not win it at all the awards, but my personal game of the year. Currently Diablo, possibly going to be Starfield. So far. Something might come out of left field. An indie title might come out of left field and steal it. We don't know.
What have you been playing at the moment? I mean, obviously we know because on stream, a lot of it still.
Diablo.
Junky, what's your rotation been at the moment, as and when you can actually sit down and play?
Yeah, so obviously I've been in training for my fundraiser this week, climbing some mountains. But when I have a chance, when I've not been in the gym, when I've not been in work, I've been playing a bit of Tears of the Kingdom, and I am enjoying it. The hard thing for me about getting old, being a gamer, is when I put that Switch on, I recline in my lazy boy, I fall asleep.
True story. It does. I've witnessed it.
And that's nothing to do with Tears of the Kingdom. It's a fantastic game. It's a fantastic game. It is, it's everything you wanted from Breath of the Wild and some. and I truly think it will be game of the year. Probably is my game of the year, probably because I haven't played many games. I've played loads of games this year, but I've not been able to sink into games. I've actually had to stop myself from buying new games because I've got so many games I need to go back to. So actually, this week or last week, I started playing Cyberpunk. I've committed. I am completing Cyberpunk this month or next month, before Phantom Liberty comes out. So I've been playing a bit of Tears of Kingdom, been playing Cyberpunk. I've got some hands-on a new map on Warzone, Vondel. I think it's right. I quite enjoy the map. I won't spend too much time on it. Map's right. TTK's gone up. Meta's changed. That's pissed me off. It's not very good. People like it because it feels like old Verdansk style TTK. But for me, it's just frustrating. I felt like I was at a level where I was semi-decent, and now I'm shit again.
That's how it rolls. So
whilst trying to navigate a new map.
The bit for me is obviously Kadira, or whatever it was called. I can't remember the other map.
Oh, it's going, isn't it? Yeah.
Caldera, that's it. They've completely just wiped it. And they're going to remove everything, all your progression, all your levels. Well, that's a way to treat your community, isn't it?
I think it's very much the same company, isn't it, really? It's very much the Overwatch thing, isn't it? It's a new thing. Move on. This is the new game. I think as soon as they turn around and said Warzone 2 is now just Warzone, it was written in the stars that they were going to phase it out. Could they have just left it open and like not give any sports like they have done for all the other multiplayer titles? Probably. But it is where it is. I've stopped playing Warzone, so I'm not.
I've uninstalled it.
Not much sleep on it. But yeah, I've been playing Vondel. That's right. So Zelda, bit of Call of Duty. I haven't played any more. What was it? Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
I've not played any more of that. That's what I mean. I've got so many games, and I need to stop and just like focus on a game and get through a game rather than just something shiny. Because I've got Diablo 4 as well, and I've probably put about 15 hours into that, and I'm nowhere. I need to go back to that.
That's what I like about that game. I've thrown easy like 60 hours in already. I've done the main story, but I've actually opened the game up now, and the amount of stuff there is to do post-story is unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, that would probably be a strong contender for a council plays because I need to be pulled through that campaign. I'm on World Tier 2. I'm playing the stupidest class you can do for a newcomer. I'm playing Druid, so I'm literally a fanny.
No, you'll be all right, mate.
I'm playing by myself. I'm just getting my ass handed to me because the character doesn't really open up until endgame.
I'll send you a link to something in a bit.
But for what I played Diablo, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I should spend more time on it. What else is coming out that I'm looking forward to? Starfield again. It's another time sink. Have I got the time?
Yeah, that's going to be a huge one. That's the problem, isn't it? Like if you're working all the hours and then you've got family and you've got other commitments and stuff like that, like some of these games are too much game. If you got all the time in the world, it's great, but the size of some games now, it can be too much game for casual players.
Well, just touching on the Diablo thing very quickly, obviously, because it is the big showcase at the moment. Everyone's sinking all their hours into. So Diablo seasons drop the beginning of the month. Seasons will be a pass, so there will be a premium pass and a standard pass, and will require a whole new character to run during season mode. So you've got everybody that's sinking all these hours into these eternal characters, as they're known at the moment. Then you will have a seasonal character, which you will have to start with from scratch every season, and you'll different classes every season as well. So just be prepared. As much as you're sinking hours into your main at the moment, you're going to flip between seasonal as well.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's mid to late July it's meant to drop.
Yeah, well, they were talking end of month.
Yeah. And what's annoyed a lot of people on that, just very briefly, is there doesn't appear to be a way to advance the battle pass if you don't play a seasonal character.
Mm-hmm.
So it would only be you couldn't just go and run dungeons to get XP for the battle pass on your eternal character. You'd have to roll a new character, to advance it, which I think needs changing.
Yeah, I think they've been quite receptive to feedback, and hopefully they will be receptive to more feedback, because there's a lot of new people coming to the game that haven't been there before. It's the biggest Diablo launch they've ever had, and I just think like it's a big making it that sort of like live service type game. It's a big bar to entry for a lot of people like myself. I'm probably going to be one and done. I will complete the game on one character, and I'm not going to be playing the seasons because I've got other games I need to be playing. I can't afford to be locked into it, an endless loop of. I've been there with Destiny. I don't need that again.
Yeah, I think they looked at it and went, well,
we couldn't go one episode, could he?
I've not mentioned it. I've not said anything about it. I've not even. To be fair, I've not even played it, so
I think what they looked at was, well, Diablo 3. Every season, people rolled a new character and to play a seasonal character, and they're used to their players doing that, so they just thought it was a given. But I think with the pushback, they may be forced to kind of go, okay, if you want to progress your battle pass, you can run dungeons, you can run world events, you can beat world bosses. You will not advance it as quickly as running a seasonal character, but you'll still advance it. I think that would be the way forward.
Definitely.
I think whether they can change it in time for season 1, who knows?
Who knows?
If they can't, I think they'll lose a huge part of the player base from season 1 that they might not get back for season 2. Because a lot of players don't keep up with games that they're not playing. True. They don't kind of look at the patch notes and go, oh, season 2, that's coming back. It's only a certain subsection of gamers that kind of go, I'm interested in that game. What's coming up? I think
I still think they'll get what they want out of it though, because I think they'll have that core Diablo 3 player base that have been waiting and playing Diablo 3 all this time will come over, and they'll be buying the seasons. So they'll be getting the money from that battle pass every single month.
Yeah,
and then they'll also have this chunk of new gamers, and I do think they'll lose maybe like 3/4 of that new chunk.
Yeah,
once they get bored of the game, but there'll be the other half that would like, oh, I like this. I'm locked into this currency now. I'm locked into this world. I'm buying. This is my FOMO. This is my live service game.
Yeah.
So they'll have made gains on what they already had. So I think that's good for them.
Well, let's not forget all those people that ran out to buy the Ultimate Edition so they could play it early. They're locked into the Battle Pass now because they get 20 tier skips on day 1.
Mm.
So I mean, when you're offering that sort of thing, I think you get 20 tier skips on day 1, premium tier skips. So they're already committed to 20 levels in. So there's no way if you're 20 levels in and you've bought it early that you're not also laying out the money to buy the pass as well.
I think they could do what, hopefully, if the buyout's successful by Microsoft, they could do what Halo did, where you could go back to legacy battle passes.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
And that'd work well in the context of Diablo. So if you could still like gain progress on a previous battle pass on newer dungeons, that would go down well. I think keeping people who haven't got the time to fully invest in that. I haven't got 3 months to just spend on this game trying to get through this.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best things Halo did.
Yeah, that should be the way forward for all battle passes, I think. Definitely. But with the Ultimate Edition, you already have the first battle pass anyway, so you don't need to worry about forking out for that. Yeah, you're 20 levels in, but if you decide not to roll a character, you've still got 20 levels worth of free cosmetics and other stuff that they're going to put in it. So, yeah, it's a really good game. As you say, they're really listening to feedback. Hopefully they'll put in a way that you can just advance the game without seasons.
Before we dip off Diablo, and they said Viagra. I don't know why. Like in my head, it was like Diagra.
We're getting a flash into Junky's world.
Oh God, Lilith, not again! Daughter of hatred.
Lilith, step on me. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Ewok getting a bit thirsty there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Did you see the crossover for the Secret Labs Diablo chairs?
No.
They're sold out already.
But Secret Labs want to sponsor us.
Secret Labs have done 2 crossovers with Diablo. They've done an Aris version and a Lilith version. and I must say that the Inaris version is just, oh my god, it looks so good.
Okay, yes, that is the sound of mice clicking, keyboard
Oh
tapping.
my word, they are gorgeous.
That's,
Yeah, I'll put it. I don't know if we can put a picture up because it's basically advertising Secret Labs, but they're stunning.
oh yes, oh yes.
The Inaris version is so much better than the Lily version. I
Yeah.
think the Lily version has been done dirty a little bit.
But I don't think I could buy a white chair. It's
No,
stunning.
I kind of like the Lilith chair. I won't lie, the Lilith one looks very nice.
I may have just got the Witcher chair.
Oh,
Ooh, very nice.
you got that in, didn't you?
Very nice, buddy.
Okay.
So if anyone would like to buy a
I am looking for a new chair. I'll talk to you later.
Sticking with things that are secret passions, it's no surprise when I tell everybody that everybody knows what my secret passion is, as he holds his D20 in his hand. Yeah, my math rocks. So I purchased the DLC for Solasta, which is no surprise when you know me. Solasta Palace of Ice was amazing. Gives us 2 new races. So we got the Tieflings and the Gnomes. We got new magical items, an extension of the main campaign. And when I say an extension, I don't mean like a typical, sort of Call of Duty campaign extension or like a Ubisoft extension where it's like 3 missions and done. Or even Destiny. I'm talking like full-blown another 30, 40, 50 hours worth of content. But the biggest thing that came with it as well was the update that allowed creators who can make their own levels be able to tie levels into each other now with an overworld map that included the travel mechanic for what is Dungeons & Dragons. So we now have people recreating official licensed Wizard of the Coast 5e campaigns in a computer game where if and I'm pretty sure Mr. Ewok will attest to me on this one, when you're struggling to get people around a table to do it or even over a PC to do it and you need an itch to scratch, why bring other people in when you can control all 4 characters yourself?
Yeah, I think it's a good approach for anyone who wants to scratch that itch. Definitely.
Yeah. So that for me has been my little secret thing at the moment. I'm plenty of hours in that, loving it.
Nice. Well, boys, we've been talking for about an hour and a half.
Sorry, guys.
Or thereabouts.
Well, this is what happens when we go once a month.
Council. Yeah. Well, yeah, that is the thing, isn't it? Rather than having 1 hour every 2 weeks, you're kind of going to get an hour to an hour and a half every 4 weeks. There's a lot to catch up on.
I feel like we should end on a bombshell.
And on that bombshell.
And on that bombshell.
On that bombshell,
Right.
I might be returning. I'll leave it at that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Watch this space.
Very, very quickly, before we do close, Junky, you mentioned that you're going to be doing a charity walk. Adventurous walk next weekend. Do you want to just give a little bit of info on that for anybody that'd like to maybe sponsor?
I am, yeah. So as some of you may know, some of you listen or watch or however you observe the podcast, I do a charity fundraiser every year. Been doing it for the past 4 years. This is my 4th year for Tommy's. It's a charity very close to my heart. It deals with miscarriage prevention. I work very closely with the charity. Obviously, it all started off gaming. So I started off doing 24-hour stream, then went on to doing 16-mile walk, then went on to doing climbing Snowdon, and now we're at the point where we're climbing Snowdon, Scarfell, and Ben Nevis, the 3 peaks over 3 days next weekend. I'm sure Ray can put on some details for the donation page if anyone wants to help or sponsor. That'd be lovely. No obligations. Obviously, times are hard. Fully understand. So any support, even just like sharing or cheering, is very much appreciated. Yeah, doing well. Nearly reached the £1,000 goal.
Awesome.
Let's hope we can smash that for you, man.
And then, as always, it's every year it's just bigger and better. So next year we're looking at doing another climb of Mount Olympus. If anyone's interested, might have spaces. It's going to cost a bit of money, but let us know.
The
Yeah,
council claims Olympus.
Yeah. I'll make sure the information's on screen, but also in the link in the description of the video as well. So
I have been debating doing a 24-hour stream as an add-on, but it'd probably be a few weeks after, because I'm probably going to be absolutely done in after climbing the peaks.
well, not straight after the 3 peaks. Come on.
Yeah, straight after. Yeah, and every night after, I'm going to do a pause for stream. I'm going to do 8 hours after the climb to make it full 24 hours.
It's just 24 hours of watching you sleep off the climb. Controller in hand.
Well, hang on a minute. Twitch allows this sort of thing, so you know.
But yeah, I'll be wearing a GoPro on the climb, so there'll be photos and pictures and everything.
Awesome.
And if there is a stream, you can find it on socials. Just check out Old Man Junky on Twitch, Insta, Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah. Socials will be linked in the description as always. So you can follow us there for any updates on streams, potential returns, and charity events.
Well, guys, I guess that's it. With much ado, I call this session of the council to a close. I've been Judge Junky.
I've been Judge Volio.
I've been Judge Ewok.
You've been fantastic. Order!
Order!
Hold up!